The Miami Dolphins are fighting for their lives this season. It's been a roller coaster ride, filled with frustration, determination, and now, hope. After starting the season at 2-6, things seemed all but over. Fans were discouraged, critics were relentless, and the playoffs felt like a distant dream. But here we are, 4 wins in their last 5 games, including an overtime thriller against the New York Jets in Week 14. Suddenly, the Dolphins have clawed their way back into the conversation. Yet, let's not get carried away. This upcoming matchup against the Houston Texans might as well be their season's final exam. It's do-or-die time. 2 games separate the Dolphins from the last AFC wildcard spot, and while the odds are stacked against them, NFL.com gives them just a 13% chance to make the playoffs. There's still a path forward. The question is, can they seize it? Let's talk about the Denver Broncos, the team currently clinging to that final wildcard spot. Their road to the postseason is far from easy. They're about to enter a brutal stretch of games, starting with a clash against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, sitting at 6-7, are in the thick of the playoff hunt themselves and won't go down without a fight. After that, Denver faces 2 back-to-back road games against heavy hitters, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams have explosive offenses and plenty to play for. Then, to wrap it all up, the Broncos host the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that's been nearly unstoppable this season at 12-1. It's a nightmare schedule, no doubt about it. And that's where the door opens, however slightly, for Miami. The Dolphins' own path looks far more forgiving. First, they have to get through Houston, and that's no small task. But if they manage to pull off the win, the remaining schedule suddenly feels manageable. San Francisco? Underwhelming at 6-7. Cleveland? A disaster at 3-10. And the Jets again, who've been no better at 3-10. On paper, Miami should be favored in all 3 of those matchups. It's this week's game against the Texans that feels like the real hurdle. So what's the deal with Houston? Their 8-5 record might look intimidating at first glance, but let's break it down. They've benefited heavily from playing in a weak AFC South. Their offense has lost its spark, with quarterback C.J. Stroud struggling in his second season after a stellar rookie year. The loss of star wide receiver Stefon Diggs to an ACL injury earlier this season hasn't helped matters. Right now, their offense is middle of the pack, sitting at 18th in yards per game. It's hardly the juggernaut it could have been. If there's one thing Miami has going for them, it's momentum. Over the last month, Tua Tagovailoa has been playing out of his mind. 11 touchdowns. 0 interceptions. That kind of efficiency is exactly what the Dolphins have needed, and Tua is delivering when it matters most. Tyreek Hill is back to being the game-changing playmaker he's known to be, with a touchdown in 4 of his last 5 games. The offense is finally clicking, and the timing couldn't be better. This game against Houston, though, feels like more than just another matchup. It's a test of everything the Dolphins have been building toward. In recent years, late-season games with high stakes have been their Achilles heel. This is their chance to flip the script, to prove that this team is different, that they can handle the pressure and rise to the occasion. Let's not sugarcoat it, a loss to Houston would all but end Miami's playoff hopes. Even with a favorable schedule ahead, falling 3 games behind the Broncos at this stage would be too much to overcome. A win, on the other hand, keeps the dream alive. It would send a message, not just to the rest of the league, but to the Dolphins themselves. This team has shown flashes of brilliance throughout the season. The question now is whether they can sustain it. Can Tua continue his streak of mistake-free football? Will Hill and the rest of the receiving corps step up when it matters most? And what about the defense? They've had their ups and downs this year, but they'll need to be sharp against a Houston team that still has weapons, even if they're underperforming. This season has been a battle for Miami, not just on the field, but in terms of identity. What kind of team are they? Are they the one that stumbled out of the gate at 2-6, looking lost and uninspired? Or are they the team that's shown resilience, grit, and determination over the past month? This game against Houston could very well answer that question. It's a defining moment, one that could set the tone for not just the rest of this season, but for the years to come. For Dolphins fans, it's been a whirlwind. The highs and lows have been exhausting, but isn't that what makes this journey so special? To see your team fight back, to refuse to give up, that's what being a fan is all about. This Sunday, it's about more than just stats, standings, or playoff probabilities. It's about heart. It's about believing when no one else does. The playoffs are still a long shot, sure. But long shots are what make sports so thrilling. If the Dolphins can pull off this win against Houston, who's to say they can't keep the momentum going? It's all there for the taking. They just have to grab it. And for the fans? All that's left to do is cheer, hope, and believe. Because if this team has shown us anything over the past few weeks, it's that they're not done yet. Far from it.